Hey everyone, it's Ashley Shaw here. I'm the founder of the Done For You social posting strategy. I'm also the founder of Business Bootcamp and the creator of Social Selling Simplified, the podcast. So thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. My story is I've used social media to grow my online coaching business from 0 clients, literally 0. And I have now helped over 14,000 coaches, and they've paid me to help them with social media. So I started off with knowing nothing, absolutely nothing about social media. And now I serve a community of over 10,000 coaches. And I've retired my husband from oil and gas so we can stay home with our 8-week-old daughter, Coco. It's our first baby. And so it's been amazing, not only being able to switch off shifts from getting more sleep with him being home, but also when it's your first, it's really nice to be there for all the things that are happening. So thank you so much for taking some time to jump on and listen to the training today. So it's great to have you join us. And if you haven't seen part 1 and 2, this is actually part 3 of the training. So make sure to go back and see those other videos that we've done. And this is a workshop all about attracting your ideal customer with authenticity, which is I know something that tons of coaches really struggle with. So I appreciate you taking your precious time to be here and watch this training today. So in this video, I'm going to give you the exact blueprint you need to get people to actually take notice and slow and stop that scroll. And then what happens when you can slow the scroll and get them to pay attention is you can start getting people to come to you instead of feeling like you're constantly hustling your friends and family, which that feeling is never good. No one likes that feeling. If you've ever been confused about how all the pieces of authentic social media attraction fit together, and more importantly, what goes into creating a massively successful business where people come to you and you're able to easily find your people, then this video training is for you. So maybe you're a coach and you aren't able to attract your audience without feeling salesy, and that sales slime is something that's really holding you back from getting to that next level. Or maybe you're a network marketer in the health and fitness niche that isn't actually bringing people in and feeling authentic about it. So you could be in one of those categories, and this video is going to help no matter where you are in that spectrum. In this video, I'm going to show you how social sellers like you and like me can find your people authentically so that you can get paid every month. Because I know if you are a fitness professional, a health and fitness coach, whatever you call yourself, you're in this to help people. And sometimes I should totally get my mic closer here, then you guys can actually hear me. If you're a health and fitness person, if you're anything like all the health and fitness people I've worked with in the past, you do this to help people and you would do it for free. But the point is not to do it for free. It's to be able to get paid for it so that you can do this more full time. It can open up freedom in your life. You can stay home, you can be with your kids, you can do all the things that you took on this role to be able to do more of. So that's what it's really about, making sure we connect those dots for you today. So in video 1, I just want to do a quick recap with you. We talked about how now is the right time to build up that emotional bank account so you can find your people authentically and start building trust and rapport so they want to buy from you. Trust and rapport is so important in any relationship, and especially when it comes to buying from you. People have to like you and trust you before they'll ever pull their wallet out. Then in video number 2, we covered the first step so that you could start changing that mindset around selling. If you feel like you're always having to sell people, that is going to hold you back from taking this business to the next level. So we covered that in video number 2. So if you haven't seen those videos, make sure you go back and check those out because it's really going to help build that foundation for you and then come back to this one. So today I'm going to build upon what we've already discussed by giving you the complete blueprint to attracting people authentically with social media. By the end of this video, you'll have so much clarity about authenticity marketing, and you'll see how all of this starts to really fit together. I'm also going to share my blueprint around social media. And once you'll use this, you'll never worry about not knowing what to say or how to bring in and attract those ideal customers that you're looking for. It will help you break free of that frustration and is really key in helping you find your people so you can get paid every month without having to hustle your friends and family, because no one wants to do that. Not only does no one want to do that, no one wants to be on the other side of that. You don't want people ghosting you because they're afraid of what you're going to say and what you're going to ask them. We've got a lot to cover today, so make sure you got a pen and paper and you can take notes and follow along with us. So anytime you're trying to authentically attract your ideal customers, it can be hard because in the beginning, everything is so brand new. And things that come up would be things like not knowing what to say. How do you find more people to take notice of what you're doing? And how do you find people that will spend money and not say it's too expensive? Those challenges come up over and over and over again for coaches. And then you need to know what the role each of these plays in social media. And it's not easy because it can feel very overwhelming with all these balls that you're trying to juggle. On top of that, even if you have experience with attracting people authentically with social media already, you're always looking for the 80-20, right? You don't want to waste time, and you want to find the 20% that's going to produce 80% of your results. And that's why the social media super strategy is going to save you a ton of time. Now, this is the exact blueprint that you need for people to come to you. And this is something that I swear by. It's what I've used to grow my business from having 0 clients to now being able to help 14,000 coaches with social media on a consistent basis. So this exact blueprint is what you'll need, and you're going to get a full workbook that has all of this when you join the upcoming challenge. So the challenge is called Find Your People, Fill Your Programs, and you can get a copy of the blueprint by joining the challenge. So the challenge kicks off on October 19th, and it is a 5-day free challenge. You go to ashleyshaw.ca/challenge to get into it, and then the workbook is part of joining the challenge that you will get on day 1 of the challenge. So with all that said, I need to warn you before we get rolling. Once you see that blueprint in the workbook, you may be tempted to dive in and just start reading. It gives you the complete overview, but I really want to make this easy for you by covering that 20% that we talked about earlier with that 80-20 rule, the 20% that really matters. So although the blueprint will give you a high-level overview, stay with me because I'm going to walk you through the 20% that gives you 80% of those results. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's training, and I'm going to do an overview of what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about the 5 simple steps for social media super strategy. So step number 1 is tell your story. So here's the reason why telling your story is so important. And if you know this reason already, make sure to pop it in the comments because I love reading the comments and hearing what you guys think is really the importance behind this to see if we're in alignment here. Okay, so here's the reason why telling your story is so important. People will want to see themselves in you. So think about any time you're doing research on a product, the story of that product is what ultimately you feel like, yeah, I'm going to go further, or no, I'm not interested. So let me give you an example. If you have been shopping or searching for any service provider lately, I don't know about you guys, but in terms of the last ones I can think of is we've had a doula that we've had a little bit of help with our with nights because our little one isn't sleeping through the night. So when I'm searching for this and when I'm looking at this person, I want to know more about her before I'm going to trust her. I love the fact that she's got 2 kids. She's got a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I love hearing what she's learned along the way in her story. I love that she's all into the organic and natural products. I love that she runs a business. She's one of the business owners of the doula company that she works for. And it really helps me feel in alignment with that person that I am working with. So people will come across you, but if you're not consistently telling your story, they don't know why they should work with you and why you are the person for them. That's why these types of posts get so much, not only engagement because people want to hear more about you and your story and how they're similar to you, but also it gives them a reason to read on and read further. One thing you may not know about me is that I grew up in a Gold's Gym. My mom went into contractions in a Gold's Gym parking lot, and I have been in the fitness industry ever since. My dad was a bodybuilder, my mom was an aerobics instructor, and here I am now. I've worked in the fitness industry for 16 years, and now I teach sales and marketing for fitness professionals. Well, if you didn't know that about me, then you may be like, oh, who is this person teaching me about fitness marketing? Like, what does she know? Well, now you kind of see there's some credit there, some street credit that I've gained through sharing my story. So that's why telling your story and sharing it is so, so important. So step number 2 is to showcase your sweet spot. So the reason that this is so important is social media is a super duper busy place. There's a ton going on. It's like 1,000 miles an hour, and you're constantly being targeted. You think of all the ads that are happening, constantly being bombarded with stuff. You're constantly fighting for your ideal customer's attention. So you need to hit them very quickly with why you are right for them. And if you think about Simon Sinek, he talks about the golden circle. So this is all about starting with why, because it hits you in a certain part of the brain that makes you feel it's that decision-making part of the brain. Whereas when you tell people I'm a fitness coach, there's no emotional reaction there, right? You got to tell them why you do what you do and why this is your sweet spot. So if I were to share that with you guys, then I would tell you 3 main things about me. The first is that I grew up in the fitness industry. So I love helping people in the fitness industry because there's something about working in that environment. I worked in fitness clubs, like physical fitness clubs, for the last 14 years. And I just love that environment. People come to you, their lives are changed. You're working with people that are always so positive, doing good things for themselves. So that space for me is home. The other thing that you need to know about me is that I love online marketing. I've been in online marketing for the past 15 years, moved to Vietnam. My husband and I had an exporting business there that we legit, like we just packed our bags and moved there and figured out how to set up an office, how to meet people that made products there, how to set up a website. Like we were really, really grassroots, and barely had, a couple pennies to rub together, but we loved it so much. So that's why now when it comes to online marketing, we've learned so much in 15 years, but it really has been the last year that we've been able to 10x our business. And it's like we finally clicked into that 80-20. And so that's why I'm so passionate about online marketing is I know that you can spend a lot of time doing the wrong things and feel like, I don't have any time on my schedule to do any more. So it's not about doing more, but it's about clicking into what is that 80-20 rule. So that's why I love working around online marketing. And then the third thing is that I'm a sucker for simplicity. So I always did a ton of teaching around sales in the fitness industry. And with that, I hate when people make things complicated. I hate having to try to pull things together and get clarity. No, you're the teacher. Tell me what needs to be done and stop confusing me. So I am all about trying to keep things really, really simple, making things way less complicated because that's how it's easy to execute. So those are the 3 things you need to know about me. That's my sweet spot. So if you're hearing that and looking at this bigger picture of why this sort of post is so important, you now know if you resonate with those 3 things and you see a bit of yourself maybe in those stories or in, appreciating things to be simple versus complicated, you're going to want to know more and you're going to feel like we're a good fit, right? So that's why this type of post falls into that 80-20 is that people need to see why they should work with you over someone else. It all of a sudden eliminates the competition and it helps create that lack of being stuck in a sea of sameness. So step number 3 is about being your brand. So the reason this is so important is I want you to think of any of your last shopping experiences. If you go into a Lululemon versus if you go into a Target, totally different experience. People love both. People hate both, right? If you go into Lululemon, you're going to be greeted by an ambassador. They're going to ask you your goals, how you like to sweat. You're going to see their goals on the wall, and you're going to pay a lot more for that experience versus you go into Target. No one's going to ask you what you're looking for. No one's going to ask you about your goals. You're going to grab your red cart, maybe your Starbucks, and you're going to power on through and find what you're looking for. You're going to spend tons of time browsing, and no one's going to be accompanying you to your change room and getting you a different size, right? Totally different. But the reason that you want to define what this is that you want to be consistent and you want people to know exactly what to expect. So if you were to go to my Instagram at the Ashley Shaw, you would see that my branding is all consistent. When you get there, there's sort of 3 main things that you may notice or you may not notice, but just take in the aesthetic. So there are 3 main areas I focus on with my branding. Yoga is one of them. It's part of the core of the things that I love and the aesthetics. So you'll see me talk about alignment and karma and recognizing that we all have a light within ourselves, which is the light in me recognizes the light in you, which is namaste, what that means. When you also look at my branding, there's a little bit of like hip hop gangster in there as well. And that is a piece of some of the language you use, some of the images like leather, cheetah, all that stuff that I love that you'll see be very consistent. And then you're also going to see, the simplicity factor and keeping things very aligned. Like I only use certain colors. I only use certain images. So I want my brand to show you that before we meet. So it's like when you go to my profile, it's like you're shaking hands with my brand before we even interact. And then there's a process that happens after that, right? Like how I talk, the way that I communicate. Is it through audio? Is it through, Buongiorno, which if you haven't heard about that, it's a way to make like customized welcome videos and things like that. Like, what does your process actually look like when it comes to being a fitness coach? And are you intentional about your brand? Like, are you just going to send me random questions when you ask me about my goals? Or are you even going to ask me about my goals, right? So there's a way that we need to differentiate ourselves and interact because we are prepping the people that we're interacting with how we work. And so you need to know what that experience looks like to be intentional about it. Otherwise, if people can't tell what you do in 5 seconds when they get to your Instagram or your Facebook, they're gone. They're not like our bodies conserve calories and that's what our brains are designed to do. So we will not wait to try to figure out what you got going on. You've got to be consistent and you've got to have that intentional brand experience that comes along with it. Step number 4 is know your ideal bestie. What I mean by this is you got to be besties with your ideal customer. Social media is noisy. When people are scrolling, they are looking for something that stands out to them. Well, you know what? You know who knows me best? My bestie. She is sending me gifts and people drinking like wine out of a huge glass or things that Boston Terriers are doing. Or she's sending me things about like, silly stuff from like Mean Girls or things like that. She knows me best. So those are the things I would stop for on my social media feed. Or it could be different terminology, like what I'm thinking about. And the best way to slow someone's scroll is to know exactly what they're into, what they like, what they laugh at, and how to capture their attention. Because if you can't do this, if you don't capture their attention, you're not going to push them any further than just seeing your social media posts and leaving. So that's why knowing your ideal customer, knowing your ideal bestie really, really well is crucial to get them to take any additional action. You will not be able to move them forward in your process if you do not know how to capture their attention as if they were your best friend. That's why this is part of that 20% that gets you 80% of the results. And then lastly, it's about actually learning that 80-20. So there is 20% of your posts that are getting you 80% of the results. So if you don't know these, then you can spend years, like I said, 14 years trying to get into this and understand what you need to do to be successful, and then not seeing the results from it. That's why people quit. They don't tune in to what's working and do more of it. That's what the 80-20 is. It's learning about what you're posting and digging into what's actually working, doing more of that, and saving time and not doing what's not. When you think about how much time it takes to do Insta stories and all that stuff, like, it is a time suck. So there is no reason why 1 minute should be wasted on something that isn't working, because that is extra time on social media. That's time away from your family. That's time doing stuff when you're already busy. I don't know about you guys, but I am consistently negotiating the nap time hustle. I don't have a lot of time to do stuff that isn't working. So the 80-20 rule and implementing this in your strategy is super, super important. So I want to do a quick recap here, because we've just talked about a lot of things, like the 5 main things you need to do on social. So the review of those things, the 5 simple steps for social media super strategy. Step number 1, tell your story. Step number 2, showcase your sweet spot. Step number 3, be your brand. Step number 4, know your ideal bestie. And step number 5, learn your 80-20. It's so much easier when you can see how these things really start to fit together. And most importantly, it feels so good knowing what you should focus on right now. And that doesn't matter where you are in your journey. If you're a beginner or you're an advanced coach or health and fitness influencer or a network marketer in health and fitness, knowing where you need to go next is the key to success. If you are stuck in, what do I do? It takes up so much energy. You have no energy left to push forward and do the next thing in your business. So if you can see this clarity, you will find your people easier and faster. And I'm sure you're starting to see that, right? The clarity that can come with knowing what to post. So now that you've got those wheels turning, I definitely want to hear from you. I want to know in the comments what ideas you picked up from this video today and from this training. And now's the time to get started. So let me know in the comments what your first step is going to be. And if you found this video helpful, others will too. So make sure to tag your fellow coaches, fellow teammates, fellow fitness entrepreneurs below, so you can give someone else a hand in helping them learn this and by sharing this video. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to implement what you've learned today easier and faster. So if you're a coach, this lays out the exact plan so you can find your people and so you can get paid every single month. And if you're a network marketer in the health and fitness niche, you'll build on what you've already created in your social media by following the specific steps designed to get you past what's holding you back so you can get on track and reach your goals. And speaking of learning on how to authentically find your people, we've been hearing from a number of people who've had questions about the Done For You social posting strategy. And I'd love to see you in there because it's so helpful when you have a plan and you know exactly what you need to do. So in the next video, we'll talk more about the program and how you can join. And the way it works is that I open the full class to the general public on a very limited basis. In fact, it's never been open before to the general public, and it will only be open 2 times per year. So we do this because it runs very similar to like a college class where we all go through the material module by module, month by month. So registration opens for a few days and then it closes. So I create space for the new members and then deliver the content. So if you're interested in moving forward and want to know how, join me in the next video and then I'll lay it all out for you. But for now, I want to leave you with this. Just by taking part in this mini series, these mini training videos that I put together, you're already closer to knowing how to authentically find your people. And think about part 1, where you learned how to build up that emotional bank account. The training alone has shown you how to start every conversation with authenticity. And it's amazing how simple it can be once you have the steps in your hands and you follow them. Then you made big strides in video number 2, where we talked about how to change that mindset around selling people by knowing how to pay attention to your thoughts. It's huge, right? Because our thoughts determine how we actually do things and how we execute them. And today, you got the complete blueprint on those posts that are so important to catch your ideal customers and to capture their attention, so you can start building from a place of authenticity, and you can find your people so they'll start coming to you so that you can get paid every single month without having to hustle your friends and family. It's so much easier knowing every step along the way, right? And to make it even better, we cut to the chase so you know exactly what gives you bigger, better, faster results with less demand on you and not taking up as much time. So in just a few days, you've learned so much about how to authentically find your people. And in the next video, I'll share the next step of the journey. And I'm so excited for what's in store for you guys. I'll see you back for part number 4. And definitely, I look so forward to seeing your comments and being able to respond to every single one of them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great rest of the day.